So you want to be a great basketball player. Your team is on a mission to win a championship this year, and you want to know what needs to happen in order for that mission to become a reality. You want to know how did Jordan, Magic, Bird, LeBron, Curry become so dominant at their chosen positions? How did the Bulls, Lakers, Spurs, Celtics become such juggernauts during their reigns? I'm not going to draw the answer out and take up too much of your time, because I understand that for many of you, it's almost playoff or tournament time. The grind of the regular season is about to end and make way for the march toward a championship. You're trying to get your head in the game, and I'm trying to help you develop mentally. If you pay close attention in the next few minutes, you're going to grow. I promise you that. Have you ever seen a mediocre team win big? The gym is old and outdated. The players don't look that impressive physically, but they're winning. Maybe you played a team like that and assumed you would win based on their appearance, only to get beaten convincingly. I gotta laugh when I hear teams psych themselves out before the game even starts by saying things like, this team likes to cheat, or the refs give them all the calls at home, or they got a lot of dunkers on their team. Come on, man. At that moment, you have decided that you are probably going to lose on what you have perceived as a possible advantage for the other team. How many times do you hear guys say, we want to win, but we'll probably lose if they take the game from us? You've already discounted you and your own team's abilities to win with the words you uttered. No matter how well practice went, no matter who you've beaten up to this point. Why would you do that? You have to be willing to play the game on the court and inside your mind. You have to win the game inside your mind first in order to win the game on the court. When have you seen a team dunk 50 times in a game? Really? Really? Did you attend every game on the other team's floor to witness the officials cheating the visitors? Nah, you didn't. You didn't, because if you did that, you wouldn't even be at your own games. Come on, man. Check out these simple tips. Games come down to a single play only due to mistakes made earlier in the game by your team. Cut down on the mistakes and you can eliminate those close endings. Teams that get a lot of offensive rebounds get more opportunities to score second chance buckets. If everyone blocks out their man every time a shot goes up, you will hold the other team to one shot every trip. If you don't want to get beat off the dribble, stay ahead of the basketball. It's not the man jumping and putting his body inside the rim that beats you, it's him putting the basketball through the hoop. Once the basketball is past your shoulder, you're beaten. If you don't want to foul out, don't foul. Play position defense as a team, because a team is only as strong as its weakest link. If you want to attack the basket, pick a shoulder and drive at it on a straight line. Stop dribbling from side to side or killing your dribble just because you have the ball in your hands. You can't get to the basket attacking an opponent's chest. You have to attack his shoulder and get him to stagger his stance in order to get past him to the basket. The crossover, regardless of which version you use, allows you to transition from one shoulder to the other once you get that guy to stagger his stance. Simple, right? Come on, roll with me. Check this out. Your opponent is moving the ball flawlessly in the half-court sets and getting layups the entire game. All you have to do is jump the passing lane once in a while if they're running the same play. You have to take that play away if it's hurting you and make them try something else. Nothing upsets me more than a lazy player. Not jumping that passing lane, that's being lazy, because it's telegraphed. Your opponent has come down the floor 10 times in a row and run the same play and scored off of it. They're passing the ball from the top of the key to the wing. You're in a matchup zone and standing in the gap right between the passer and the player receiving the pass, watching that pass sail past you 10 times in a row. You allow that player to receive the pass and then move in front of him. It's too late then. If you don't want him to score, don't let him get the ball in the first place. Force somebody else to do it. As a coach, I had certain routines I carried out. During the game, before the game, I watched the opponents warm up to see who the shooters were and where their sweet spots were. Once the game started, I watched the point guard his first few trips down the floor to see if he could dribble the ball with both hands. I watched other players to see who could put the ball on the floor and attack the basket, who was willing to shoot, who cheated over on defense, and who was the more seasoned of all the players. I watched all of these things, seeking a small advantage in case adjustments had to be made. I was always looking for a weakness to exploit because I understand every team has at least one. Okay, rewind the entire conversation and revisit the initial question. How do I become a great player? And how can my team win a championship? You must allow yourself to see basketball for what it is, a game. It's a game that can only be won one way, and that is by outscoring your opponent. Duh, I know, somebody said it. Duh. There are no ties. This is not NFL football. There are no ties. Ties have to be broken. Simply score more points than your opponent. Hold them to one shot per trip down the floor. Attempt to score every time you come down the floor. Offset trading baskets with the other team with scoring off turnovers. If what you are attempting to do hasn't been mastered in practice, do not use the game to experiment. Don't doze off on the bench. Observe what's going on during the game. Be a student when you are not playing. To become a great player, you must master a series of small things to develop a massive skill set. In basketball, you have to be able to dribble, score, pass, play defense, rebound, execute plays, and run. Those 7 core things are what a great player must be able to do regardless of the position they play. If you can do all 7 of these things, you cannot be labeled one-dimensional. You can play several positions and create all sorts of matchup problems for your opponents. Not all players will master all 7 skills though. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a great shooter, but he could score. He could fill it up. He's a Hall of Famer and one of the most dominant post players to play the game. Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan are examples of players who played multiple positions during their careers. They are also Hall of Famers, but are considered great players. Coaches, give your players a playbook to study. I know you're saying, oh man, this is just pee-wee ball. Give them a playbook. Oh, this is just high school ball. Give them a playbook. College coaches give their kids playbooks. Professional coaches give their players playbooks. Give the kids playbooks. Oh, Johnny doesn't seem to get the plays. He looks confused and clueless in the game and at practice. Of course he does. He hasn't seen that play outside of practice. He hasn't had a chance to study it for his own understanding. I'll tell you what, think of it like a GPS. Think of it like a GPS you're using during your travel. You are told to turn moments before it's time to turn. It tells you how long it will take to reach your destination and how far away you are. Everything is great until you get to an area where you lose the signal. Now you're confused and unsure where to go, just like a player without a playbook. Once you get that signal back and reach that destination a few times, you find that you don't really need that GPS anymore. It has served its purpose. After reading that playbook over and over and executing the plays over and over, at some point you will no longer need that playbook. It served its purpose, but you needed it in order to get to that point. Coaches sometimes tell kids that they need to give 110%, and that's impossible. All I can give you is all I can give you, and that will be enough. But you have to make sure that you are giving enough every time you hit the floor. Coaches, if you want more out of your players, you have to do more and put more into the job that you're doing as a coach. Make the playbooks for the players to study. Oh, you say it's the easiest play to run, they'll be able to get it. Yeah, it's easy for you because you've studied it. You didn't create it. You didn't make it up. You got it from somewhere else and you studied it until you felt confident enough to introduce it to your players. Make sure you are doing enough for your players. Players, you cannot let team practice be the only time you work on your game. You cannot attempt to become a great player during the season. You must sell your soul to becoming a better player during the off season. You must have a clear picture of what kind of player you want to be. You must be able to see how these skills you're working on that you wish to master will benefit your team and work relentlessly to develop them. If you need a trainer, get a trainer. If your parents can't afford a trainer, find a way to afford one. Get on YouTube and watch the free tutorials. Read the basketball skills articles online. They're free. There are so many resources out there. Watch the games on television being played the right way. The guys on television, not all of them, but most of them are playing the game the right way. I prefer college basketball. If you live in a small town, get on ESPN. They got high school games on there. They got kids that are playing the game at a totally different level than a lot of these kids are playing at. Watch the entire game and not the ESPN highlights, okay? There is no excuse for anyone, and I mean anyone, from coast to coast, taking this game seriously and not being better. There are too many resources available for you to be at the same level you are right now next year. Decide if you want to be a basketball player or if you want to just play basketball. A basketball player seeks to become a master at his craft and an asset to his team. People who just want to play basketball, they don't need a team jersey. They can just go to the park and play ball. All coaches are not skills trainers. I'm just putting it out there. All coaches are not skills trainers. I happen to be one that can do both. They don't have the time to train each player. It's up to you as a player to become a better player, not your coach. Okay? His job is to put you in the right position to win. Okay? Because once you're out on the floor, you're the one running the plays. You're the one sweating and running and doing all of these things in order to either win the game or lose the game. Parents, stop yelling at the coach when your kid doesn't play. Stop yelling at the coach when your kid is unhappy. Tell your son or daughter that if they want more out of this game, they're going to have to put more into this game. If you as a parent want your child to be more successful in basketball, understand that sometimes you have to pay it forward. Everything is not free. Trainers are not free. Trainers have families that have to eat too. You like to eat? I'm a trainer. I like to eat too. So don't ask me to train your child for free because my time has value. You don't clock in at your job and expect to do it for free. I have put in the work to become a skilled trainer, a knowledgeable trainer, and I have to eat too. It's just as simple as it gets. Great players are not born, they are made. Superstars do not appear out of thin air, they develop in private to shine in public. They put their minds and bodies through pain that others won't, so they can play on a level that others can't. To everyone living in a rural or urban setting, support the kids every time they play by showing up to watch them. Give these kids a reason to put on a show. You become a great player during the summer in order to become a great teammate during the season. During the season, you can't take a break from basketball. You have to harness your will and tell yourself no one can stop you. That this is your season and that your team is a better team because you are a part of it. Once you have developed that mindset, you must fuel your teammates with the same confidence. One person believing in that mindset is one thing, but an entire team adopting that same mindset about each other is what championship teams are made of. There is nothing offensively or defensively a team can do to you that hasn't been done before. The game plan is simple. Take action. Don't talk trash, let your game speak for you. Find a weakness and then exploit it. Use your strengths to your advantage. Attack them at all times and never let up. create panic, confusion, and fear, and they will ultimately submit. Be active, not passive. Strip away their confidence in any hope of winning. Make them believe that they will lose regardless of how well they play. The team that can do that does not have to talk about it. They just go out and they do it. And by doing so, in other people's eyes, they appear to be poised or cocky or confident or aggressive, but ultimately unstoppable. All of a sudden, the game seems easier. You find yourself executing with very little opposition. At that point, fans start leaving the game. Players start fouling at a high rate or arguing amongst themselves. Coaches argue with the officials or start substituting and benching their starters. The score margin begins to grow. Me personally, when I played, I had friends on the other team. We kick it after the game. But when that ball went up, I didn't hate them. I just wanted to beat them real bad, and I didn't care if it hurt their feelings. You're trying to win for your team, and so am I. So don't take it personal. At that point, you know that you have won both the game in your mind and on the court. It is time to go get your trophy.